how the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
So everything is falling down for you guys because people perceive you as bullies.
Blake Lively's attorney just bolted from this whole circus because apparently even they couldn't stomach the humiliation anymore. Justin Baldoni's lawyer dropped receipts so devastating that Blake's team pretty much went into full-on crisis mode.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
1 minute Blake is parading around as the poor victim. The next, her own legal counsel jumped ship faster than you can say, total courtroom meltdown. And let's be honest, when your own lawyer pieces out, you know the train wreck is beyond saving.
It's gonna have to be a full-blown, I am sorry, I lied, I am a terrible person, tail in between the legs, and that's what we deserve.
Picture this. You file the wildest lawsuit of your entire career, you toss around all sorts of sensational accusations, you paint yourself as the innocent party, you feed the media these dramatic victim narratives, and suddenly your lawyer's like, nope, I'm out. Merle Conant, Blake's attorney, literally walked away after Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, unleashed an opposition so hardcore that no PR wizard could spin it. And honestly, nobody's blaming Conant for bailing. That case was going down like the Titanic, and Conant refused to go under with it.
So I just kind of had her down to a prototype and said, I'm going to pump the brakes and see what happens. And then when Brian Friedman came back with the facts, they were just undeniable. You know, it was undeniable.
Want to know what kicked this chaos into overdrive? Baldoni's legal team casually dropped 170 pages of unfiltered evidence. Not a couple of screenshots, 170 pages of emails, messages, proof. Systematically tore down every single accusation Blake had lobbed out there. Every claim, shredded. And watching her side scurry around to contain the damage? Price of popcorn never felt more worth it.
Then they publish 170 pages of perfectly documented texts and emails between all the parties that basically show Blake to be the aggressor. Here's the proof.
Meanwhile, Blake's PR people are basically on life support. You can practically hear the alarm bells in their office right now. They tried sweet-talking the media, spinning the narrative of her being some delicate Hollywood victim, but those puff piece articles? They ghosted the moment the real story started surfacing. Even the industry insiders are warning her, she's done. They're watching her free fall, and nobody's running to pull the parachute.
That's the whole point of a lawsuit, is you just start with allegations, and allegations are not evidence. They're just statements of fact that help establish this is the claim that I'm bringing.
And overshadowing all this PR mayhem? A whopping $650 million worth of lawsuits looming over Blake like a giant wrecking ball. The kicker? Her own camp finally realizes she's got zero chance of winning.
You guys were complicit here. You guys were involved in this every step of the way.
Which brings us to Merle Conant, the lawyer who probably woke up one morning, took one look at this dumpster fire and decided, heck no, I'm not torching my reputation for this nonsense.
It was monstrous what she did, and she's got to pay for it.
Live birth porn.
Because from day one, this lawsuit was built on illusions, pure smoke and mirrors.
Most people cannot afford, even if he was worth a certain amount, cannot afford $100 million. And then when you attach penalties and you add interest and all of these things, it is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare for them.
No legitimate evidence of harassment. No documented proof of body shaming. Not one actual receipt about any breastfeeding disputes. Just loud, theatrical claims with zilch in the way of backup. It's like Blake tried to pull a script from her Gossip Girl era but forgot the real world expects tangible evidence. Brian Friedman didn't just poke holes in her story. He sank it under an avalanche of facts. He put it all out there. Blake's team had no real proof, just PR hype, media angles, and an overblown sob story.
And I knew a bit about her. I knew how she grew up. I knew that she kind of was one of these people. What tends to be the case is that when you grow up with everything, you create things out of nothing because you're looking for struggle in your life and you're used to getting whatever it is that you want.
The second the other side showed up with legit documentation, Conant read the writing on the wall and said, I'm not going down with this ship. But that's not even the juiciest detail. Let's talk about Blake's PR machine thinking they could pull a magical disappearing act.
I looked through every document, every email, every text message.
Remember that infamous December 2024 New York Times piece? Blake's PR folks milked that narrative for all it was worth, painting Baldoni as some monstrous villain while she played the sweet little victim. Fast forward to today, and it aged about as well as sour milk. Baldoni's team shattered that entire storyline, exposing how the media basically cheered Blake on without checking the facts. Now, the same PR gurus are in full-on meltdown mode. And if you assume they're just behind-the-scenes fixers, think again. PR manager Leslie Sloan, who's been curating Blake's pristine image for years, is also dragged into Baldoni's $400 million suit. Yep, the people who were supposed to protect Blake are now legal liabilities themselves. You gotta ask, how badly do you have to fumble for your own PR squad to land on the lawsuit chopping block? And here's where it gets even better. Discovery is about to blow the lid off everything. Internal texts, shady behind-the-scenes deals, every orchestrated media stunt, it's all on the verge of going public. Baldoni's team is dropping receipts left and right. And Blake's crew? They can't stop it. The harder they scramble, the bigger the blow-up. It's almost funny how they banked on controlling the press, thinking the courts would somehow fall for the same PR illusions. Newsflash, judges don't care about spin, they care about evidence. And right now, Blake is coming up empty. Her ex-lawyer knows it, the PR squad knows it, Hollywood knows it, and the audience definitely knows it. What's left? Just Blake watching every fib unravel in real time. And can we acknowledge that basically everyone around Blake is telling her to snap out of it? Lawyers gone, media is uninterested, insiders whisper she's finished, and her PR team is practically begging for a miracle. But Blake? She's still clinging to this lawsuit like it's her golden ticket, oblivious to the fact it's basically an anchor pulling her under. Hollywood doesn't have time for someone who tried to game the system, got caught, and then tried to play damsel in distress when the plan hit the fan. This disaster took months of media manipulation, frantic PR moves, and questionable legal strategy to build. But the second Brian Friedman stepped up with actual proof, everything imploded. Blake Lively thought she had the press wrapped around her finger, right? For a moment, it almost worked. That New York Times article crowned her as the ultimate victim and framed every accusation against Baldoni like it was undisputed truth. The Times basically co-signed her sob story. But guess what? That fairy tale crumbled in record time. 'Cause Brian Friedman didn't come to play games. His rebuttal didn't just poke at the NYT article, it annihilated it. He straight up said the Times might have violated fair report privilege by pushing Blake's unverified claims as though they'd fact-checked them. Instead of Blake alleges ABC, they came off like they were confirming ABC. Problem is, they had zero evidence. Friedman ripped them for packaging Blake's tall tales as facts. Talk about poetic justice. And now? Other media outlets are freaking out, worried they'll be the next to get dragged into the courtroom chaos. Judge Lyman even hinted at giving the NYT the boot from this case entirely, basically hinting that their investigative masterpiece is worthless. That's bad news for Blake, because the New York Times was her security blanket. Now it's on thin ice and could vanish any second, leaving her naked to face the harsh reality. No sweet headlines, no sympathy pieces, just cold legal facts. Even big commentators like Lady C and half of Hollywood's critics have joined the chorus, slamming Blake and the Times for crossing the line. It's one thing to run a PR campaign, but using a major newspaper to push a false victim narrative is next-level shady. And Lady C didn't hold back, basically exposing how the press turned into Blake's personal hype team. Now that Friedman's sledgehammer has smashed the Times' credibility, Blake has lost her biggest media shield. She tried to bury Baldoni, but ended up burying herself. But hold on, there's a twist. Just when it seemed Blake's legal team couldn't mess things up worse, her new attorney decided to roast her in public court documents, admitting, Blake Lively suffers from serious mental health concerns. Yep, that's right. Her own defense basically diagnosed her in open court. Not exactly the PR spin she was hoping for. But are we even shocked at this point? So now Blake's camp is begging the judge for an attorney's eyes only protective order. Why? 'Cause they're terrified all that juicy, incriminating info, especially around her mental health and personal security, will get out. If everything is so squeaky clean, why the urgent need for secrecy? Oh right, because those mental health issues might shed light on why Blake's been acting so unhinged, paranoid, desperate for control, concocting wild stories, turning the media into her personal defense squad. It's giving serious Amber Heard flashbacks. People are whispering about narcissism, personality disorders, manipulative tendencies. You don't have to be a licensed psychologist to see the pattern. Blake's entire victim routine reeks of someone spiraling while her empire collapses around her. Even Judge Lyman appears skeptical of these protective orders, probably thinking, are they really safeguarding sensitive info or just trying to hide the dirty laundry before discovery blows it sky high? But wait, there's more. The cherry on top of Blake's meltdown? Her marriage to Ryan Reynolds is on life support. Multiple reliable sources, actual legit sources, not tabloid fluff, confirm these two aren't even living under the same roof anymore. They have separate residences, separate daily routines, and all those cozy red carpet appearances? 100% PR illusions. Word on the street is that sometimes they seem fine and other times it's absolute chaos. Translation: that foundation is cracking big time. Consider the lawsuits swirling around. This fiasco isn't just nuking Blake's reputation, it's dragging Ryan right along with her. Hollywood insiders are already whispering about divorce. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise anyone at this point. He's out here submitting half-baked motions to get out of the mess, siding with a lawsuit everyone knows is a joke, while both their public images crumble around them. You can practically taste the tension whenever they try to put on a united front. It's so forced, you'd need a jackhammer to break through the awkwardness. Oh, and it's not just the media giving them the cold shoulder. Check their inner circle. Blake's once tight-knit friendships are falling apart faster than her legal standing. Taylor Swift? Taking a big step back. That bond is basically in shambles after Blake tried dragging Taylor into her behind-the-scenes drama. Remember that time she leaned on their friendship to pressure Baldoni on set? Yeah, turns out Taylor wants nothing to do with it. And Anna Kendrick? She and Blake might have reunited for a movie promo, but the vibe was painfully awkward. Anna kept her distance, giving the bare minimum responses while Blake tried to fake normalcy. Everyone around Blake either bails or tolerates her at arm's length. She's torching her connections faster than she can do damage control. Right now, her entire world is a ticking time bomb. Lawsuits, PR disasters, losing the media, mental health revelations, and now a marriage that seems to be imploding in real time. She wanted total control so badly, she manipulated the media, pulled every possible string, and aimed to solidify her poor me act. Instead, she's stuck watching her perfect brand turn into ashes, with no one left to shield her fall. Ryan Reynolds might grin for the cameras, but behind closed doors, he's tied up in a $400 million lawsuit. Public sympathy is at rock bottom, his marriage is gasping for air, and there's no easy escape. The only thing Blake Lively's lawsuit actually accomplished was launching her entire life, career, marriage, and PR persona into a massive dumpster fire. And it's only going downhill from here. And here's the real nightmare for Blake and Ryan: the money. Yep, the cold, hard finances. If you think the public humiliation, attorney bailouts, media silence, and relationship woes are bad, wait till you see the financial meltdown. Justin Baldoni's not messing around. He slapped them with a $400 million lawsuit. Still think they can handle that? Well, guess what? There's another $250 million suit targeting the NYT that also ropes them in by extension, hiking the total to a casual $650 million bomb hanging over their heads. Add court fees, penalties, damages, interest. It's like a runaway train of legal costs. Here's the irony. Ryan and Blake have always flaunted that mega-rich Hollywood couple vibe, almost acting like they were minted billionaires. Peek behind the curtain, and you'll see Ryan's net worth is somewhere in the $350 to $400 million range. Blake? Her career has been so dormant it's practically dozing off. Most of Ryan's funds aren't even liquid. They're locked into ventures like his Wrexham football club, which is hardly dripping in Premier League cash, and potential future royalties. In short, he doesn't have $400 million just lying around. And Blake can't pay off even a fraction of the damages if she sold every designer outfit she owns. The biggest joke is that their PR mania had everyone thinking they were basically sitting on endless riches. But the more we dig, the clearer it gets. Losing this lawsuit would financially destroy them. Between legal fees, settlement costs, reputational damage, and zero new major gigs for Blake, they're staring down a money pit they can't climb out of. They bet everything on this made-up narrative, and it might cost them everything. But hold on, there's more icing for this dysfunctional cake. Hollywood has collectively turned ITS back. The silence is deafening. Nobody wants to be caught near this flaming wreck. Blake Lively's name has become a PR hazard sign. Even folks like Hugh Jackman, who's been chummy with Ryan for years, has gone radio silent. And Taylor Swift's team is basically working overtime to avoid any association with Blake's downfall. She's busy touring, releasing albums, and definitely not volunteering to get dragged into Blake's fiasco. Swift already felt the fallout from Blake trying to exploit their friendship as leverage against Baldoni. Baldoni's legal team spelled it out. Blake manipulated media ties, PR pull, and friendships for her own agenda. She played the game, convinced the entire industry would back her, and now it's blowing up in her face. No amount of PR stunts can salvage this scale of destruction. Hollywood sees the fiasco for what it is and is moving on, leaving Blake in the dust. Which leads us to the grand finale, Blake Lively's inevitable downfall. Let's recap the scoreboard. Her lawyer quit because they couldn't defend the fantasy she was selling. Her PR team? Exhausted, humiliated, also entangled in lawsuits. The media? Done. The NYT angle? Blew up in her face. Her marriage? Hanging by a single frayed thread if it's not already gone. Mental health? Her own attorney outed her serious issues. It's not just Hollywood rejecting her. It's the press, the public, the insiders, and the legal system, all collectively confirming that her story does not add up. And every time she tries another grand PR gesture, it backfires even worse. There's no saving this situation with a last-minute redemption arc or a well-crafted Instagram apology. Blake's collapse is playing out in real time, and she's the only one who hasn't come to terms with it yet. Every move she makes lands her deeper in the mess. The media shield is shattered, the PR team can't spin the facts, Baldoni's case is rock solid, and the industry's already replaced her. There's zero question of whether she'll lose, only when. And it's happening fast. Blake's attorney threw in the towel because they couldn't defend pure make-believe. Her PR machine is cornered and under fire. The media's washed its hands of her, Baldoni's receipts are endless, and the total lawsuits are climbing to $650 million. She's out of time, out of allies, and out of luck. And if even your own camp is fleeing the scene, it's safe to say this saga is a wrap. With Blake's empire incinerating around her, be sure to subscribe because this legal roller coaster is only revving up.